Oh, there's a petition to fire Tony.
Hard Rock.
Stop this right now. Go right now. Type in Louis C.K.
Hard Rock.
I would rather people fax me than telephone, call me.
Hard Rock.
The phone tells me, hey, this is George.
Hard Rock.
They could be making about $7 an hour, and I am here to tell you they are completely overpaid.
Hard Rock.
Bill Gates ain't returning my call right now.
Hard Rock.
I really feel like one day I should just turn this show over to all the comedy bits that are going on in my head.
Hard Rock.
I had no idea. Let me pay you right now.
Hard Rock.
Unlike Clarissa, Adam actually explained it all.
Hard Rock.
And this is the same chick that's telling us that we should impeach Biden, who I don't think gave any hand jobs ever in a public theater.
Hard Rock.
How does she even find the time to do it? Isn't she supposed to represent us? I mean, a hand job's got to be at least 5 minutes, right?
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Well, despite all my attempts to the contrary, I have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the Hard Rock Lunchbox, and of course, the top 20 today is Thursday, September 21st, 2023, year of our Lord. And I know I keep saying that. I did happen to catch the Louis C.K. clip on Christianity again on YouTube. It has never not been funny. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to YouTube. Even stop this right now. Go right now. Type in Louis C.K. And Christianity, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And maybe, honestly, I'll just even link to it, because I know Louis has been struggling a little bit, so he probably needs my help and all my listenership. We could probably rescue Louis. Come on, everybody, we could do this. Anyway, it's very funny. So yeah, man, I'm here. It's Thursday. It's not totally fall, but it's almost fall. Or is it? No, the 23rd is the autumnal equinox, so it's not quite fall just yet. But man, it is goddamn beautiful outside in the Northeast. Yeah, let's give the Northeast a round of applause. I feel bad saying this because I don't want to publicly slam any clients, but I don't think they listen to the show anyway. But I was dealing with somebody. All of my clients, the leads, my clients have my direct cell number because I work in support. So sometimes it's just easier to reach me that way. And, there are definitely some people that opt for calls. I have some clients that, will only call me. And I like to call them annoying people. I feel like of all things, the phone is the most outdated. It really was first. I don't know when Alexander Graham Bell did it, but it was definitely not in my lifetime. So, I feel like that's the old technology. We can stop using phones. I would rather people fax me than telephone, call me. And I'm sorry that's true. It just is. There are a couple people, and in my personal life, there's a handful of people that I will even speak to on the phone. In fact, it's funny. My drummer used to get so mad at me because I basically I wouldn't talk to him on the phone, and we were standing outside because he's old school. Right? I think a fax is probably too advanced. But so we're standing outside one time during one of our many cigarette breaks. This was a long time ago, and he's basically just yelling at me about I just want to be able to. Excuse me. I have to do the voice. Me eat stick. By the way, for those of you who don't know my drummer, that is a dead ass on accurate impression. But he's I just want to be able to pick up the phone and call my singer if I want to and talk to him on the phone. And I was like, fine. I didn't even drop eye contact. I reached in my pocket, picked up my phone, pressed his number, because I knew his phone was upstairs. I was like, hey, man, it's DJ, your singer. I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes, but I guess you're busy. All right, goodbye. That was it. That's the last time he heard my voice on a telephone, unless he was listening to it on an interview. And to be perfectly honest, it's going to be. It's going to be the last time. I don't talk to people on the phone. I will say in my band, the worst person to talk to on the phone is George. For those of you who don't know, George is Kaz. So So just put those two together. And Kaz is very technically savvy. Like Tony. All right. So here's how it goes. Like in terms of like tech. Like Tony really knows everything. I think Kaz and I are probably about the same. The only thing really with Kaz you need to know tech-wise is that he's on a droid, and he thinks it's better that he's on a droid. Now, for communicative purposes, it's better to be on an iPhone. It's much easier. It's in-network, all that other stuff. Tony and Kaz are on droids. They just are. And because of that, I think lesser of them as people. But that's okay. I think Tony is the most tech-savvy. Kaz and I are kind of here. And then there's everybody else that you know, and then we'll start getting towards like your grandparents and your aunts, like that, and then below that is Noodle. Like Noodle doesn't even know like his PIN. Like that's where we're at. So technologically speaking, that's kind of where we're at. But the thing with Kaz, and it's not a tech thing. The thing with Kaz and a phone, he doesn't like to text so much. I don't know if it's his Greek, Ecuadorian, Cypriot thumbs, but he does a lot of speech to text, which, by the way, is its own adventure. Like, we can get into that one day. Maybe I'll even post some of that nonsense sometimes. But when he calls you and he leaves a voice message, I don't know if the phone is shoved up his ass while he's talking to you, but man, the only reason I know even who it is, like, first of all, the phone tells me, like, hey, this is George. But the only reason I would know who it is because nobody communicates this poorly over an open line like him. I mean, if you want any kind of... I don't even know that I can do it justice, but, like, if I were to try and do it, like, it kind of sounds like this. Hold on, ready? I just want to... And then the other thing we were going to do... And then that guitar part... And then maybe we could just work on that. All right, man, I'll talk to you later. And that is literally what a phone call from George sounds like. And the only one that speaks that fluently is Noodle. I think Lisa probably picks up a little bit. Like if you were just dumped off in Lisbon, you'd pick up a little Portuguese after a while. Like I think that's it. But Noodle speaks fluent because Noodle also speaks complete animal. So, I don't know. My band and I don't speak on the phone. My point is I don't like people that speak to me on the phone. But anyway, I was saying about my clients... there's a petition to fire Tony in the chat already. Tony is probably one of the most dependable band members I've ever had. Like, you know what it's going to take to fire Tony? Margot's probably going to have to tell me to fire Tony. I do have a funny Margot story, kind of. Margot adjacent, but it's more of a... it uses the C word a lot. Not that Margot is one. I mean, she might be, but that's not what this is about. And I'm not here to tell whether or not she is one. That's her story. Like, she could do that. But it was about kind of the C word and how she was just disgusted by George, which is going to be the name of the new Revel 9 record, Disgusted by George. Disgusted by Cat. But I can't tell it. It's the C word, and it's just offensive. And, like, if you want to know the story, find me. Find me at our Beery's show, 1027 Mr. Beery's. I'll be there. But anyway, so I was talking about a client, and so they have my cell phones. It's mainly for emergency, but so I have some clients that call. I have some clients that only email. Those are my favorite clients, like hands down. They are my favorite clients. Like, there's 2 openings of favorite levels of clients before my next favorite client, which is the ones that text me, which I would rather prefer than phone calls. It goes like email, 2 other things, text, and then fax, and then way at the bottom is phone calls. So I've been getting text since yesterday afternoon for this particular problem, and I don't want to go into what specifics of it is, but there's a lot of user error going on, and then they had to call a web support company, which if you've ever called like domain support or web support or email support, like, I'm here to tell you that the people that are on the front line, it's not their fault, but the people that are on the front line that answer the phones aren't making even minimum, well, I guess they have to make minimum wage, so they're making, depending on the state, they could be making about $7 an hour, and I am here to tell you they're completely overpaid. Because what they're doing is they're reading from us. If you're getting Americans at all, a lot of times you're not even getting that. And that's not that Americans are any better, like, people around the world can work, I'm just saying that the wages are different. And they just immediately were like throwing it on the tech guy, and I'm like, that's a load of shit, is what that is. Like, it's not true. Like, there's a problem going on here with your email. Like, it's the email people that are doing it. Like, it's kind of in the name. Like, it just is. I say a lot. People complain to me all the time about like Microsoft Office products. Like, I like the old Outlook better. Like, yeah, dude, me too. But like, Bill Gates ain't returning my call right now, so there's not much I can do about that. He's way too busy putting, like microchips and, well, I can't even say it. I don't want to get another YouTube strike. Sorry, YouTube. I was just making a joke. I can't even parody. Joe Rogan can say whatever he wants, but I can't parody. How's that fair? I really feel like one day I should just turn this show over to like all the comedy bits that are going on my head. Just go. But anyway, so I've been getting contacted basically since yesterday afternoon from the same account, like over and over and over again. And it was like, I woke up to texts about it, and it's just like, now that's just like really annoying. Like, just don't text me out. And I even messaged them like, I don't even work till 10. It's not entirely true. I don't even work till 10, so blah, 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 blah. And then they were just like pushing, like, I really need to speak to you. And I was like, listen, I've got other clients. And this is what I feel bad about, because I actually had to play this card just to get it to stop. I was like, listen, I have other clients with emergencies this morning. And I really have to help the ones that are current on their billing first. And then immediately got back, I understand. Please let me know when you can fit me in. To be perfectly honest, I would have preferred, like, oh, I had no idea. Let me pay you right now. But that was not the case. I did it years ago. In fact, 20 years ago, or 23 years ago, actually. I had an account. Owed me, I'm going to say $5,000 or $6,000. Which in 1999 dollars is about $3 billion today. And for those of you old enough to remember, Y2K was coming up, and there was a big concern. And it wasn't like that was going to drag airplanes out of the sky, because we all knew it was coming, right? So, like, we knew that there were things, and people were working on it for years. And this account, like, basically had stopped paying me because they just, I don't need any more help, so I'm not going to pay your old bills. Like, that kind of mentality. It wasn't the textile industry, and they were just very cheap like that, and it was a really bullshit dick move. And then because they did that, they had in their software a Y2K problem. They had a couple of them, and that was fine. I spent most of that year correcting a lot of that stuff and adjusting for it, anticipating and ready, and all my other clients like, just let me know, whatever. So they messaged me on January 2nd, like, hey, our systems aren't working. I was like, oh, okay, you should probably talk to whoever's running your system right now. And they're like, oh, we don't have anybody. I'm like, oh, all right, well, let me just check your balance real quick. Oh, it looks like you owe me some money. I'm like, I can't really help you until I get that. So do you want to just like wire that over, or do you just want to call somebody else? And they begrudgingly wired it over. They also never paid me for the work I did, which was about 3 minutes worth of work. It was fine. I did bill them for a couple of hours, though, because they were dicks. Back then, I used to bill people what we here would call the asshole fee, and it was just a question of just how hard I had to work to get you to pay me. And I've done that over the years. I will say that I find that actually just charging late fees does a lot. I have some clients that have just refused to do late fees, and I just keep holding it in their balance so that whenever they call me and need immediate help, I'll be like, you owe me like $300 right here. And they're like, well, that's late fees. I'm like, it's still an open balance, man. You're going to have to resolve that. And that resolve can honestly be just sitting and talking to me and saying like, listen, I'm really sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just wipe that out. But if you're going to be a dick about it, like, dude, seriously, like, I am so tired of working so hard to make things so much easier on other people when it comes to, like, clients, especially because everyone just constantly bitches about, like, paying for services. Like, I make companies run. Like, I make them exist. If it wasn't for me and people like me, they just wouldn't exist. And I will get paid less than, like, an A-grade mechanic that can't even seem to take the lug nuts off my Subaru crate. Like, it costs what it costs. I understand you don't want to do it, but then, yeah, go stay on the phone with Dell for like 4 hours until you get it resolved. Fine with that. Like, it's a question of what people value, people want to pay money for. And, like, I have a lot of, like, I was talking to somebody the other day about, one of the problems that we're having here on Long Island, if you're from Long Island, you'll know this, is that there's a lot of moneyed money coming in to Long Island, and those are basically like hedge fund and venture capital people. And what they do, if you don't understand how that works, is that they infuse businesses with cash, right? They just, here's $1 million into your, like my dentist. I love my dentist. I mean, I really do. Like, my hygienist is like top notch. Everybody in the front desk, like, really knows what's going on. Like, they do a good job. Like, I've never had a problem. I had one problem one time because one of the hygienists was really kind of pushing a deep cleaning, which they numb you out for. It's like kind of a big deal. They do half your mouth, and it's an insurance thing. And I did not like that because I didn't think I needed it, and it turns out that I didn't need it. But it was because they had been bought by a new venture capital company, and they set a quota. You need to get this many deep cleanings in because we can bill insurance for that. And, when you're billing something for insurance, that $85 cleaning job is now $300. And if you don't believe me, check your explanation of benefits on anything that you've ever been charged for there and you haven't actually received the bill for from the person, because that happens all the time, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around like why that's a thing. But like, if my doctor charges my insurance company $350 for a visit and my insurance company only pays them $200 of it, I'm supposed to pay the rest. But since they only really wanted $150 in the first place, it's a win for them, and I don't have to pay the balance. This goes on all the time. If you don't believe me, check out Adam Ruins Everything, the hospital edition, and I'll explain it all, because unlike Clarissa, Adam actually explained it all, and then we can just all get on with our days. So anyway, I played that card. I wanted to talk about Lauren Boebert, because I think it's really cool that the Republicans are now, cool with going to all ages shows and vaping, which you're not allowed to do, especially in Colorado. But also, like, I think it's super cool that a United States representative from the great state of Colorado is comfortable, and mother of 4, by the way, knocked up in high school. She had to drop out of high school because she got knocked up. And I'm not slut-shaming. I'm just telling you what she did. I'm going to start slut-shaming now because I appreciate that the simple fact that the leading voice on impeaching our sitting U.S. president is this mother of 4 representative from Colorado that thinks it's completely okay to vape in a public all-ages theater while jerking off for her boyfriend, basically, when you can watch the video and the pictures of that in public, and then tell people about how moral they need to be. And if you think like I'm making this up, look, Google anything, anywhere of specific interest. And I was talking about this the hand job is new because they've got like this heavy petting and fondling thing that was going on. Like that's a big deal, especially considering she denies it every step of the way, which is something. That's the point I want to make. Like, these Republicans, all they do is lie and lie and lie and lie. And then when they get caught, I lied, whatever. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I lack judgment. Yeah, no shit, you lack judgment. That's exactly what you do all the time. And this is the same chick that's telling us that we should impeach Biden, who I don't think gave any hand jobs ever in a public theater. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there. But at least we don't have any video of him doing it, unlike her. And the fact of the matter is that she is a representative of the Republican Party. She represents Republicans. If you're a Republican and listening to me, this is what you stand for because she's representing you. Am I making any of this clear? Stop following these people. Stop listening to them. And then, or stop expecting us to not think that you're exactly this trash. Because if this is what you're allowing to be your business card out in the world, then you're exactly the trash that you're selecting to represent you. There is no two ways about it. Shut her up, shut her down, or shut up yourself. Stop complaining about everything else. You don't see Democrats doing this kind of thing. Democrats have their own problems, and you can pick on them for all that stuff, but at least we own our trash. I mean, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you people supporting a woman like this that allows, like, do you allow to tell us how to morally live our lives? Are you out of your mind? Oh, I'm so disgusted. I'm actually really glad I was talking about the client thing before, because I feel like I probably would have wiped myself out talking about this chick. I mean, like, How does she even find the time to do it? Isn't she supposed to represent us? I mean, like, a hand job's got to be at least 5 minutes, right?